This episode was recorded prior to the knowledge of the tragedy of China Thomas. From all of us here on Causeway Street, we want to send our hearts and our condolences to Isaiah Thomas and his family during this difficult time. May she rest in peace.
Causeway Street Podcast. I'm your host, Joseph Pavone. Joel Pavone. Mr. Sean Dutra.
Hey, this is Leon Poe, man. You listening to Causeway Street Podcast.
What's up, y'all? This is Kenny Anderson.
Hi, this is Tyler Zeller from the Boston Celtics.
And y'all listen to the Causeway Street Podcast.
For all you new listeners out there, I'm your host, Joseph Pavone. I'm joined as usual by my two co-hosts.
I'm Sean Dutra. What's up? So
Yeah, talk
long
about
walks
yourself.
on the beach.
There you go. Joel Pavone. What up?
I'm a Pisces. The most
He
romantic,
leads off with that.
the most romantic sign in all of the zodiac.
Oh,
You couldn't tell by my voice already.
oh,
Sexy.
But I'm the producer of this ensemble that we call Causeway Street. In case you missed it,
Hey, Bill Walton here, Celtics 1986. You're listening to the Causeway Street Podcast. Yeah, come here for nothing but the truth. This is where dreams come true. Thank you, Boston, for my life.
where are we going?
You guys are such homers.
It's your boy Terry Rozier. You're listening to the Causeway Street Podcast. Now listen to my boys Joe, Sway, Joel, and Sean.
Welcome into a very special episode of the Causeway Street Podcast. Call this one the Celtics Playoff Preview because the Celtics are not only the number one seed, but they're going up against the Chicago Bulls, and somehow they have their back against the wall. Right, fellas? Am I right or am I wrong? Sean's too in love with this beat right now because Sean's loving it right now.
This is my shit.
Shout out to Kendrick Lamar dropping that great album, by the way. But
Sit down.
anyways, how about those Celtics, though? Number
Yeah.
one seed.
Number one seed. I told you. I tried to tell everybody that it was still a achievable goal.
It was still achievable, even after they lost to the Cleveland Cavaliers. So, of course,
Yep.
they grabbed the number one seed. But the fact that they're still that team with their back against the wall because no one is giving them credit for a team that could potentially go as far as the Eastern Conference Finals. But that's
Nobody.
okay because the Celtics are used to that.
No, but
They're
guys-
used to that.
but guys, they're the worst first seed ever since the 1979 Supersonics.
And big shout out to people bringing that up, including ESPN.
Oh, wait,
ESPN has them, the team that's most likely to choke in the first round.
You know what I call
all the
that?
teams in the Eastern Conference.
You know what I call
Out
that?
of all the teams in the NBA, excuse me.
28% chance.
I call
28.
that keep adding fuel to that fire, baby.
That's what's gonna keep them
That's
going,
it.
right?
The Celtics have been built on being an underdog all year. People think that, maybe you can win 50 games. Sure, you have no chance of being the one seed. They're the worst team in the Eastern Conference. It's in the top four. I'll take the Wizards. I'll take the Raptors. I'll take the Cavs over them. Guess what? Celtics have been able to put together an injury-filled regular season where they have still been able to take the number one seed in the Eastern Conference, which, you know what? Yeah, I know what last time we talked about the Hawks and we talked about the Raptors and we talked about the Pacers when they've taken it and they haven't been able to take over they haven't been able to, beat LeBron, but who knows, man? The number one seed, you can't overlook the number one seed.
Right.
Getting to that point, I mean, it's not. I don't think it's much different from the Western Conference number one seed, right? Because the Western Conference, you have your two top teams. It's a coin flip between those two top teams, right? Obviously, if you're gonna pick the Cavs, you're gonna pick the Celtics. You're gonna pick the Cavs most of the time. But if the Celtics can get that number one seed, that's what they need to have that advantage if they do meet up in the Eastern Conference Finals. So yeah, I'm with you, man. Eastern Conference Finals a bust, baby. Let's go.
Well, that's the thing, though. I feel like as the number one seed, I can't remember the last time we saw number one seed. I mean, maybe the Hawks. What was that? A few years ago. I can't think of another number one seed where people are not giving them the benefit of the doubt to reach the Eastern Conference Finals, right? I mean, I don't see people potentially putting them there, which is fine because I'm not surprised by that.
Year they won 60
right,
games.
They won 60 games, and I feel like people still weren't putting them in the Eastern Conference Finals. However, the difference between those two teams, though, is that the Celtics have a much easier route, right? You're missing the Cleveland Cavaliers. You don't have to face them. You don't have to face the Toronto Raptors, which, in my opinion, those are the two best teams in the Eastern Conference that are going to give the Celtics the most trouble, correct?
Well, yeah, I think you've benefited three ways. First off, you get the number 1 seed, so you get the worst team in the Eastern Conference playoff picture, which is the Bulls, right? I mean, the Bulls are not a scary opponent. Mm-hmm. We'll get into that in a little bit. But, I mean, then you can avoid the two teams that I think the Celtics have zero chance against. Or, not zero chance. I'm not saying they have zero chance. But in the second round, I would be upset. I would be not upset, I guess, but a little bit upset.
What are you trying to say, Sean?
In the second round, if you had to play the Raptors or the Cavs, the Celtics would be big underdogs in either of those series.
Okay.
But now you get either the Wizards or the Hawks, which will be a battle of a series because the Hawks have been playing some great basketball lately. I don't know if it's going to carry over to the playoffs, but the Celtics get to avoid DeMar DeRozan and LeBron James, the number 2 and number 3 player in the Eastern Conference this year, after Isaiah.
Wait, so you put Isaiah over LeBron?
This year, yeah.
All right.
I think Joel's going to kill me.
No, I didn't say nothing.
That's Joel's boy. You better chill. You know he's got a LeBron James jersey on
No,
that
I'm
shirt.
just saying. I'm just saying, though, MVP candidates, right? You're looking at Isaiah Thomas going to beat LeBron James and DeMar DeRozan.
I don't have a LeBron jersey, just so you know. Sway did. Sway was given one. I don't know what he did with it.
I had one, and mine disappeared as well. It's a white Cavs jersey.
I gave mine away about 8 years ago. I was given a jersey. I didn't actually buy it, I swear. Anyways, that's beyond the point, though. Okay,
You steal my LeBron James jersey, man?
Oh, was that yours? It probably was. You know what? It was in college. Someone gave it to me in college.
That's where my jersey was.
No, shut up. You had a LeBron James jersey?
Yeah, man. I lost it in college.
Was it a blue one? No,
it was white.
Away? Oh, no, it wasn't that.
All right.
I think it was Ant, actually. Ant Castiglione. Big shout out to Ant. Anyways. So to help us look into this series is,
what up, Ant?
believe it or not, it is Al Horford's sister. Anna Horford told us, a few days ago that she would be more than happy to join us on the program. So we're going to get it to her in a little bit. But first things first, guys, before we get to her, I want to talk a little bit about this matchup and about the fact that there is not only the Dwayne Wade factor, because we saw what Dwayne Wade did last season, but there's also the Rajon Rondo factor. Which Rajon Rondo are we going to see in this series? Are we going to see the 2012 Rajon Rondo? Are we going to see the 2014 Rajon Rondo who imploded and completely separated himself from the team and got selfish? Whatever happened in Dallas, I'm still not 100% sure what happened in Dallas. But whatever it was, it wasn't good.
I know what happened in Dallas.
Whatever it was, it wasn't good. And at the end of the day, I feel like that may or may not happen in this scenario. But whether it does or not, what can we expect from Rajon going up against the Celtics, and what can we expect from Dwayne Wade? Are we going to see the Dwayne Wade from last year, or are we going to see the Dwayne Wade that we've seen in the last month or so?
No, it doesn't matter what Rondo and Wade does in this series. It's all about Jimmy Butler, man. That's it. Jimmy Butler is by far the best player on that team. Dwayne Wade and Rajon Rondo are role players at this point in their career. Could Dwayne Wade go out for 25 points in a game? Yeah, but
I think that has to happen for the Bulls in order for them to have a chance.
Yeah, which is why I don't even. Are we going to make predictions later? Because normally I always make predictions and they're always wrong because I always say sweep. So I'm not going to say a sweep. I'll say 5, but I really think it's going to be a sweep.
Joel, what do you think?
I think the Celtics win it in 6.
Well, that's
me too.
I don't like
only because
you know why?
People
say 6 games.
No, I'll tell you why. Because of the way
they're gonna lose to Chicago twice.
Listen. Let me explain. Can I explain?
Why is that unbelievable?
I know, seriously.
Unbelievable.
Let me tell you.
Number 1 seed, motherfucker.
Let me explain to you.
Put some spec on their name.
See, all of a sudden, Sean's put the Celtics all the way up on this pedestal because they had the number 1 seed. Okay, all right.
Well, he already has them in the finals, right? You penciled.
Put some spec on their name, man.
Okay. Well, let me explain to you why I think they'll win in 6. There'll be one game. There'll be one game where they'll flat out just win.
Why?
It's just.
I want to know.
Look at the season series. Look at the season series.
No, I know, but
what do you want? You want a box score?
Oh, what? So you think that they're gonna call a phantom fucking call on Marcus Smart on a fucking Jimmy?
That could be a reason why they lose. That could be a reason why they lose.
That was the most bullshit game.
Look at it from the ref's perspective, right? Just to piggyback on what you just said, right? Mm-hmm. All right. Who do you think the refs or a lot of basketball analysts look as the best player in the series? Honestly, not what you think, but what they think
This year?
No, in this series between the Celtics and
no, last year, Sean.
No, 2 years ago.
It's Isaiah Thomas.
No. I'm with Joel 100%. They're talking about
Jimmy Butler.
They're talking about Jimmy Butler, the best player in the series.
We're not talking about this season. We're talking about overall as a better player.
Just time out. Hold on. Jimmy Butler is, if Jimmy Butler came to the Celtics, it would be Isaiah Thomas and then Jimmy Butler. They'd be 1A and 1B.
We're talking about.
They're based. No.
Joel's talking about in the eyes of the national media.
No. I think you guys are missing out on it because there's pedestals, right? Isaiah Thomas and Jimmy Butler are pretty much on the same pedestal. It's not like you're going up against a Kawhi Leonard or a LeBron James or a Steph Curry where they're going to get those calls. No,
not for the national media.
You're wrong.
I'm right.
Jimmy Butler is
I'm right.
Jimmy Butler is not ahead of Isaiah Thomas on that list.
The national media. I'm not talking about.
I'm not talking about Boston media either. I'm talking about NBA. There's hierarchy in the NBA. If you have a LeBron James, if you have a Kevin Durant,
well, you just said Isaiah's better than LeBron James, so it doesn't matter. This conversation is mute in terms of what you think Isaiah Thomas is.
I'm making a great point right now, and you're just gonna go back to that. I'm saying Isaiah Thomas is having an MVP caliber year.
Okay, but we're talking about overall player. We're not talking about this season. We're talking about overall player.
So it's fine. So I think Isaiah Thomas.
Why did Jimmy Butler get that call?
Isaiah Thomas
last month or 2 months ago,
and Jimmy Butler are pretty much on a level playing field. If you're talking about, hey, you have if there's a top 25 list, Isaiah Thomas and Jimmy Butler are within 2 rankings of each other. However you rank them on each other.
We go back to our top 25 list. I'm pretty sure a good chunk of us rated Jimmy Butler over Isaiah Thomas, and that was what, 2 months ago.
Is Jimmy Butler in the caliber of LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Kawhi Leonard?
Why does that matter?
What are you talking about? Why does it matter? He's not going to get calls in the playoffs
all I'm talking about is he's not. Isaiah barely gets calls now. Are you serious? Have you not been watching Celtics games? How many times does he fall and he never gets a call?
Isaiah Thomas went to the free throw line the second most times in Celtics history, only behind Paul Pierce.
Okay, but we're talking about
he's cut to the line.
All right, when the Celtics lose by a point because Jimmy Butler went to the free throw line, then we'll talk. Because that's one of the reasons why they'll win one game at least. The second game, the Bulls will win. They'll win flat out. Right. But the Celtics will still win.
So,
still beat them.
But you understand what I'm saying? There's the royalty of the NBA, which you're not dealing with this series. If you were going up against, if the Bulls had, I don't know, even if you were playing up the Pacers, right? Paul George probably not. He's probably in the same camp of.
But we're not talking about that. We're talking about in this series. Okay, the referees and the consensus of, put in quotation fingers, NBA analysts are gonna say that Jimmy Butler is the best player in the series.
No, I don't think so.
Am I wrong, Sway? You're in the media, Sway. Come on.
In the eyes of the national media, I feel like Jimmy Butler gets the edge just because of his history and because of he's been sort of known as like, okay, he's the two-way player of the league aside from Kawhi Leonard, right? Can we say that at least?
Yes. So
Isaiah Thomas is still sort of the up-and-coming all-star, whereas I feel like Jimmy Butler's already been solidified.
Not only that, Jimmy Butler has been deep into the playoffs as if Isaiah hasn't. I'm not shitting on Isaiah. All I'm saying is think about it from both perspectives. That's what I'm saying.
It's like we said at the top of the episode, Sean. Why does ESPN have the Celtics as the team most likely to choke?
Thank you.
In the matchup because they don't believe in what Isaiah Thomas can do, especially in the playoffs.
No, it's because that they're the number 1 seed.
But that doesn't mean
hold
anything.
On. They're the number. Let me finish my freaking sentence. They're the number 1 seed without one of those crazy all NBA players on the team, which is the same thing as the Bulls because they look at the Celtics.
It's not the same thing, which is the same reason why they have the Bulls doing this unlikely upset or likely upset in terms of all one seed against 8 seed.
All right, so you're going to put Jimmy Butler then in the top 5 players.
I'm not doing that. I'm telling you the national consensus. You're not watching the national consensus then if you don't.
So the national consensus puts Jimmy Butler in the top 10 in the NBA in players?
because you put Isaiah Thomas in the top 10 doesn't mean.
I'm not putting Isaiah Thomas.
So
in
then,
the
what's
top
the question?
10.
Why are you asking me that question?
You think that Jimmy Butler? On
I
the
don't
Bulls,
think. All I'm saying is that's the national consensus. I've been watching ever since
you
the Celtics
think
clinched.
that's the national consensus?
Ever since I fucking saw the Celtics clinch the number one
It's
seed,
getting crazy already.
every shit that I've watched, ESPN, NBA TV, TNT, they're talking about Jimmy Butler being the number one. That's all I'm saying. I'm reiterating what I've been seeing, not what I think, what I've been seeing.
Right.
That's all I'm talking about. When that wasn't a foul.
What Joel's saying is that Isaiah Thomas wouldn't have gotten that call.
Thank you. That's all I'm saying. It's that little
The
thing.
phantom foul.
But it's not gonna be. It's not gonna be
Where
enough.
was that game?
Right before the All-Star break.
Where
No, he's
was
saying
it?
it's in Chicago.
Oh, it was in Chicago. So they got a home court call.
Out of 7 games, you don't think they have a chance to win 1 or 2 games? That's all I'm saying.
I'm not disagreeing with the national consensus. I don't care what the national consensus is.
Right, but that's the whole thing that Joel's relaying.
Hold on. I'm saying, though, is that the national consensus isn't a landslide enough where it's going to have any effect on this series. If 51% of the national consensus say that Jimmy Butler is a better player than Isaiah Thomas, it's having no effect on the series. If you're putting Isaiah Thomas up to LeBron James, yes, it's probably a 90% chance that everyone's going to pick LeBron James. That could affect the series. They're so close, it doesn't freaking matter what the national consensus is. It doesn't matter if 57% of the national media thinks that Jimmy Butler is a better player, or that people in the United States think that Jimmy Butler is a better player than Isaiah Thomas. He's not in the upper echelon. He's not a superstar in the NBA. He's on the exact same playing field as Isaiah Thomas, and it's not going to have any effect in the series. That's all I'm trying to say.
Well, one thing I got to say, guys, is that I'm really excited about this playoff run because you know what? Out of the last, this is going to be the 3rd run for Brad Stevens. I think compared to the last 2, this is not even close to the type of team that we want to see in the playoffs because now the Celtics have the type of team, not only because they're the number 1 seed, but because of the fact that they have the chance because like we said from the top, this is the easiest route that you can pick for the Celtics. They don't have to face the Cavaliers. They don't have to face the Raptors. I think they have this is the best chance they have in making the Eastern Conference Finals. And guys, you don't want to miss that, okay? Because I'm going to be there. Sean, Joel, I'm sure you guys will not.
I'll be in the house.
You guys are going to be there too. And everyone out there listening, you do not want to miss out on that. And the best way to get there is through the SeatGeek app, okay? I don't know how many times I have to tell you, but you have to download the SeatGeek app if you haven't already. Right now, it is playoff time, and your chance to earn a $20 rebate off of your pair of tickets is still available. Download the SeatGeek app. Make sure you go to the settings tab and write Causeway as the keyword to get yourself that $20 rebate and the best deal around. Trust me, you go to anywhere, any other site, you're not going to get a better deal. This is the best deal. You are not going to find a better one anywhere else. That is the SeatGeek app. Download it on your phone. Make sure you go to the settings tab. Type in the word Causeway, and you'll get yourself a $20 rebate. Still available right now, and right now is the best time to save money on some playoff tickets. SeatGeek, make sure you download the app, add the keyword Causeway, and get yourself the $20 rebate.
I love SeatGeek.
Nothing even compares to it. But we still have to get to our guest. Our guest of the show, Anna Horford, who has been waiting patiently. Anna, we appreciate it. We appreciate you stopping by. This is going to be a very fun conversation because I've been dying to talk to Anna for, a couple of months now. We've been talking about getting her on the show.
I've been trying to talk to Anna for a while, man.
Yeah, well, here's your chance, Sean.
Hey.
Here's your chance. This is Anna Horford joining Causeway Street to talk to us about the upcoming series and a bunch of other things having to do with the Celtics, of course. What's up, Anna? Welcome to Causeway Street.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So, Anna, it's funny. So I've been talking about, the last month or so, guys? Like a month or two, I was like, you know what? I'm going to get Anna on. You know, I want to reach out to her. And these guys were like, man, you know what? You were probably trying to, you would probably slide into her DM trying to get her to get on. She's like, she probably doesn't even want to talk to you. That's the whole problem. I'm like, you know what? Little do you guys know. You can't even DM her because she doesn't put up with that kind of nonsense, all right? You have to tweet at her. So you know what I did? I sent her a tweet, and the very next day she responded. So I appreciate that, Anna. Much appreciated over here.
It must have helped that this.
Yeah, of course.
You know what? You're right, Joel. You're right. Yeah, it probably helped that the Celtics clinched, and she was probably all jacked up and ready to go. You know what? It's funny, Anna, because out of all of I don't know what Celtics Nation, I mean, Anna stands out the most because of her Twitter game. Her Twitter game is very strong.
It's on
Isn't
point.
that right, Anna? It's on point, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. You're telling me so.
Yes, the answer is yes.
I thought she'd be more cocky about it. I thought she'd be like, yeah,
she's humble.
yeah, it's in. She's humble, right? Like the Kendrick song, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Right.
So, Anna, what's your initial impression of this matchup? I mean, how well do the Celtics match up against Chicago, and what do you think are sort of in the Celtics' advantages when you're going up against a scorer / defender like Jimmy Butler? In my opinion, one of the best two-way guards in the game. And then you also have, there's a lot of dynamics to this series, right? I mean, there's a bunch of angles. You have that. Jimmy Butler going up against Isaiah Thomas. You got Dwayne Wade trying to relive what he did last year in the postseason, which he had a pretty good postseason. One of his better ones, in my opinion. And then there's Rajon Rondo. I mean, Rondo hasn't seen the playoffs since 2014. And if he's able to, relive the Celtics playoff Rondo, I mean, we could be into a 7-game series talking between the Celtics and the Bulls. What's your initial reaction to this matchup between the Celtics and the Bulls?
My initial reaction, I mean, I'm really confident in our squad. You look at their roster and you see, Butler, Rondo, Wade, and obviously those guys, they're huge threats, and they're all going to be in playoff mode, which is a little nerve-wracking, but I think if we come in and we play team basketball, I think we can get it done.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, so Celtics, obviously your brother came in this year, Al, and made a big difference taking the team from, what was it, the fifth
seed last year
to the first seed
winning
this
over
year.
50 games too.
So I mean, I want to know how it was for you being, obviously a huge Hawks fan. Probably when I'm assuming
those 9 years,
those 9 years Al was there. How has the transition been? I mean, the Hawks and the Celtics sort of hated each other there for a while when Al was down there. How has the transition been for now rooting for the Celtics?
For me, I mean, the transition is an easy one just because family always comes first. So I have so much love for the Hawks and the Hawks organization. And, it was fun to be part of that family for so long. But when Al made his decision, we didn't even think twice about it. We were like, hey, he knows what he's doing. This is what he wants, and we're going to support him no matter what. So it's been weird, though, because, you call one place home for so long, and you get used to, going to games in Atlanta and whatnot, switching it up. But, I mean, it's all about supporting family at the end of the day.
So how's the transition been for Al? I mean, I'm sure he's had conversations with you about the city and the fans, of course, and the Garden. And I know you've been to the Garden not too long ago, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. 2 months ago, I think it was the first time you went to the Garden. What was that like?
It was awesome. It was so intense. Every seat was filled, which is crazy, and just the energy in the building was so awesome. And I know that the transition for Al, I mean, he's had a really good season with the Celtics so far, and I think he just really is looking forward to the future and how far the team can go, and so yeah, it's been really good. A really for the most part, it's been a really positive experience. So yeah.
I'm pointing at Joel. Go ahead.
Hold on.
This is when you speak, Joel.
So if you're gonna pick Atlanta or Boston for Al to call home, what are you picking? I just want to hear you say Boston. That's about
really,
it.
Sean? Really?
Yeah.
Well, obviously.
There we go.
Obviously, I gotta go with Boston.
Hey, there we go.
Sean just loves hearing the city get props. That's what it is.
Man, I do.
Right.
Before the Celtics clinched the number 1 seed, I saw a couple of quotes from Al, and he's excited about the playoffs, obviously, and he said the main reason why he wanted to sign here in Boston was for this playoff run. So what do you see in terms of like expectations and sort of what's going to happen, and not just this first round, but as the playoffs go on?
Yeah, I mean, I've got a lot of confidence in Al and the team in general. I think everyone is really going to step up come playoff time just because that's what, any player does when it comes down to it. And I think you're going to, really see a lot of grittiness. Al is one of the most competitive people I know. He hates to lose. He hates it. And so he's going to put it all out on the floor. And, I think they're going to do really well. I think we're absolutely going to take Chicago and just go from there.
Hell yeah.
Are we going to see you at the Garden at any point during this series or in the playoffs?
I'm not sure about this series. I'll be in Chicago all next weekend, so just because it's only a few hours away from me, so I'll be there Friday and Sunday. I'd really, really love to get to the Garden, come playoffs, just because everyone is so, like, you have to go. Everyone's really hype about it, and I definitely want to be able to experience that, so I'll see what I can do as far as getting to the Garden as well.
Awesome.
So I got a question for you. I mean, I think one of the favorite tweets of all the Celtics Twitter this year was when you decided to just absolutely destroy Michael Felger on Twitter.
Yes.
I mean,
yes. Love it.
That was like my favorite thing to see. I mean, as a Boston sports fan, like, we listen to Felger every day because
you do.
I do because he's just the guy.
Speak
I like,
for yourself, Sean.
I feel like I like to get angry sometimes and I yell at the radio, but like so Mike Felger is
that's why he
hating
does it,
on your
though.
brother.
That's why Felger does it. Yeah, go ahead.
No,
keep going.
he's
keep
hating
going.
on your brother. So I don't know bring us back to that point, because I want to know what was going through your mind. Just basically calling him out for his bullshit. I loved it.
Yeah, I mean, someone had initially sent me a link to a video of him, with some not so great things to say about Al missing a game because of his daughter's birth, which is
ridiculous.
insane.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, let it out, Anna. You can swear here. This isn't FM radio.
It's
okay. No, let it out. Let it out. I encourage this.
I'm swearing all fucking night.
You guys have me talking about Mike Felger, so there might be some F-bombs.
It's okay. It's okay.
No, so I didn't know much about the guy. I'm obviously not in Boston listening to his negativity on the radio 24/7.
Right.
But based on what, a lot of Boston fans have told me, he's just kind of just a negative douche, and
that's accurate. Yep.
So he's just trying to get attention and whatnot, but it makes me really mad. I'm very protective of my siblings, of all of them, and so I felt like I had to speak up and say something and put him in his place, because that just wasn't okay.
Yeah, I'm glad you did. That was great. It's like
that made national headlines too.
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, let's think about it though. I mean, Felger calling out Horford for missing a game because of that. It's
ridiculous.
Most ridiculous thing.
And it was
heard.
the second week of the season too. It's come on, man.
Right.
Yeah. So Anna, let me ask you this too. So Al did get a ton of money, right? He got a ton of money to play here. Do you think that those expectations that Al has to be this franchise player, do you think that's weighing on him at all? Like the money, the big contract. Do you think that he thinks about that at all, or is he just trying to go in every day, just being the same player he's always been?
I mean, Al's a very level-headed guy, and I think he knew, the responsibility coming in and getting a max deal with the Celtics, and he knew what that meant, and he knew that you guys are really, you're hardcore fans, and you're gonna let him know when you're not happy or when he's doing well, and so I think he knew all that stuff coming in, and he's just going to go in. He's going to do his job. I mean, IT was just talking about how Al said at the beginning of the season he was going to try and make IT's job as easy as possible, and he's done that. And, I mean, it shows. He's a potential MVP, candidate. He's way up there with those guys. So I think he just wants to come in and do his job and do the best he can and contribute to the team.
Back when Al had those concussions at the beginning of the year, how bad was that for him? Because it seemed like he was out for a very long time. And, obviously we know the concussions, those, they're no joke.
Protocol and all that.
There's protocol now. But how bad was that? Was that a tough time for him? Or did he have some trouble getting back on the court from that? Or what was going on there?
Yeah, I mean, I knew that he really wanted to take his time with it, just because you can't mess around with head injuries. And I don't think he initially knew how severe the concussion was until he had gone to some follow-up appointments and whatnot. And, just to be on the safe side, he sat out a good amount of time. And it's good that he did that, because, if he hadn't, there could have been lingering injuries and whatnot.
Yeah.
And so yeah, no, and if he hadn't been out for those games, and if we hadn't been battling injuries all season long with our team, who knows where we'd be right now. I think we'd have a lot more wins than we do now. And so I think that speaks volumes. A healthy Celtics team, it's something people should worry about.
Yeah, I mean, as bad as the injuries were for the Celtics this year, right? I mean, they were getting rest, and now they're fully healthy for the playoffs.
Right, but it's funny because it's sort of like a silver lining because you see all these teams, these top-notch teams that are resting their guys. Now the Celtics, they didn't have to do that down the stretch. There was like everyone already got their rest, whether we're talking Isaiah Thomas, Horford, Crowder, Bradley. I mean, key guys, they all suffered injuries, and as bad as it was at the time, at the end of the day, it's sort of, you know, they're sort of in their stride right when they need to be going into the postseason. So, I mean, you know, and you brought up a good point. I mean, the Celtics could be like a 56, 57 win team if they didn't go through all those injuries. I was going to go there, but okay, maybe 60. Who knows?
I go there. I definitely say 60.
Yeah.
If we had Al and Avery all season, I think we could have done a 60 win.
Oh yeah. See, me and Ann on the same wavelength right now. We're good.
You guys are vibing. Anna, what was Al like growing up? I'm dying to know because I know you guys come from a big family. What was it, 5 siblings? It's 5 of you guys.
Yeah.
Was he like the older brother who was protective? Like when you brought a boyfriend to the crib, you know, was he like, who's this dude? Like, I don't like this guy. Was he real laid back? Like, what was that like?
He was sneaky. Back in the day. You know, he was sneaky protective, man.
Probably.
Well, he and my other brother John, they're the 2 oldest. They're both definitely protective, but Al had gone to college. You know, I was.
Yeah, that's true. He was in Florida.
You know, I was in middle school when he went to college, so I wasn't exactly bringing guys home in front of him. He's always been protective, but he's also always been very inclusive. And you know, he's 30 and I'm 24, so he's always been, you know, there's always been that gap. But when we were younger, he would stay home and like hang out with us and like play games with us and the neighborhood kids. When like a lot of guys would go out and party and stuff, we'd like guilt trip him into staying. So just like he's always just been, you know, he's just always been super sweet and a great big brother. So
he never had any like the lookout boys making sure that there was no creeps coming by, nothing while he was in college.
What are you? Why are you asking?
I'm dying to know, man. You know what? Joel and I. This is my brother, by the way. Joel's my brother, and like it's just us two, so we don't have a sister. I don't know that dynamic. So
Thank God, by the way.
I'm dying to know. Yeah, thank God, because I would be protective. I would be that guy. I don't know. I'm sorry. I would be that brother. I would be the older brother.
As far as like guys now, like my ex was covered in tattoos. He was in a metal band, and so that was a little different for Al.
What did Al say?
Very like he's not into tattoos or anything like that.
It's the exact opposite.
I started getting tattoos, and Al wasn't super stoked on that. So
yeah, it must be pretty intimidating
he's
too.
He's a little more conservative.
It's got to be intimidating to like see you know, if you're dating somebody and they see a 7-foot dude walk in as your brother, that's got to be a little
especially after he made it to the league. Everyone's like, oh,
they know who he is. That's crazy.
Yeah, honestly though, my dad has scared more guys than Al. I mean, my dad's 7'1", 280.
Oh, he used to play too, right? He played in the league too.
I don't know.
Yeah, he used to play professional.
For the Milwaukee Bucks.
Oh, okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Did you play?
Yeah,
did you ever play basketball a little bit? With such a basketball family?
Yeah, I did when I was younger. I blew out my knee though. Me and my sister, we don't do the whole basketball thing. Our younger brother is he's playing right now for junior college, and then I've got another brother who's been on the Cleveland Cavaliers D-League team, John. And so yeah, he's the same size as Al. And so yeah, it's definitely the whole family thing. So can't escape it.
There we go. So Anna, you gotta give me a percentage. Celtics can get to the finals. Represent the Eastern Conference in the finals. What are you putting the odds on that? What are you putting on a percentage for the Celtics being able to run their way through the East this year?
That's a really tough question.
That is a tough question.
I thought we were going to talk about the Bulls series first.
No, we're going all the way, baby.
I'm over here trying to put a percentage myself, and I'm like, oof, that's a tough question.
Yeah. That's a tough question. I don't want to implicate myself. So I'm going to say that I think we could definitely make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. You know, when the Cavs come in, it's a whole new thing.
See, this is my thing.
You've got to take it to a whole other level.
This is my thing this year. LeBron's been to the finals 6 consecutive years. He can't keep going every single year.
So what, seven's is
there's
unlucky
gotta
number?
be a year
That's an
that
unlucky
he's going to
number?
lose. It's got to happen. Probability, baby. We're there. We're number 1 seed. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, you never know. You never know what's
Seriously.
going to happen. I believe in Boston. I really do.
Well, this is coming from Sean, who's obviously a big Celtics guy.
Well, I told you
Not a big fan of the Cavs or LeBron whatsoever, so you can understand how he would love to not see LeBron go there and see of course, of all teams, see the Celtics make it to the NBA Finals.
Yeah, the silver lining would be LeBron not going to the finals.
But you know what? Speaking of teams, and players that the Celtics fans don't particularly like, are there any teams in particular that sort of used to rub Al the wrong way back in, when he was with the Hawks? Yeah, or players. Are there any like rival guys that you can think of that Al, ever spoke to you about, saying like, oh, this guy always gets under my skin, or I wish I did this and that against this guy? Is there anyone like that in particular?
Yeah, I mean, we've had our battles with Cleveland over the years, so that's always been a team that, they're not our favorite team. Let me just say it. Let me just say it like that.
Same thing over here.
When Dellavedova was on the team, I hated him.
I don't think there's a single Dellavedova fan out there right now.
Yeah, someone who personally tries to injure other players I'm not a fan of, so absolutely hated that guy. I'm not a huge LeBron fan. I think he's amazing. He's insane. He's so good. But as far as the way he carries himself, I'm not a huge fan of that.
I was just gonna say, what don't you like about him? Is it just that
he's a douchebag? That's what.
Basically. I mean, he's a great player. He's a great player. No one can deny that. But I appreciate guys who,
are humble,
who kind of tone down the douchiness. Yeah, and are humble.
Thank you.
I like those guys. Those type of players.
So, I mean, I'm sure you guys can tell Al's a very low key person. He doesn't ever throw it in anyone's face, about how cool he thinks he is or anything like that. And I appreciate that from anyone from any walk of life, and just treating other people the way they should be treated. So that's how I feel.
There we go.
Who are some of the teammates that Al likes to kick it with? Who are some of the guys that sort of he's a little bit closer to in comparison to the other ones? Who are some of the Celtics players that he's drawn close to in this past season?
I mean, I think he's pretty close with all the guys. It's a little different for him just because he's the oldest guy on the team.
That's crazy. He's the oldest guy on the team, and he's 30 years old. Damn.
That's true.
Yeah,
well,
so
Joe Green's not too far, but that's about it. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's kind of, with a lot of the younger guys, it's fun being young and it's fun being in the NBA and whatnot. But right now, Al's totally a family man. He doesn't go out and party. He doesn't it's kind of, so that I feel that would be the only thing that, is a big difference for him as far as who he's hanging out with when he's hanging out. But I know he's got love for all his teammates and they all get along really well. And I think that shows, they've got chemistry. If they didn't, we wouldn't be where we are right now. So.
And I got to ask, because it's been the big debate since the whole season, pretty much since November. Who do you have for MVP?
Oh, good question.
Russell Westbrook, James Harden, or anybody else?
I have Russell Westbrook, and
thank you.
Good choice.
Next, I'd have James Harden.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not. I mean, he's obviously Westbrook. He's averaging a triple double, but they're also sixth in the West, and he's just come in super clutch for his team. And I like that team. I think OKC, they're a good team, and but I also did have honorable mentions for James Harden and IT, of course, because I'm going to pull for, the Celtics always.
I think he's the three. If you ask me, I think he's third. I don't know. That's just my opinion. I think Thomas has to be third.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, I mean, what he's done at his size is insane. And he's amazing. He's great. He's king of the fourth. So.
Yeah, I think he doesn't get enough credit for what he's doing at his size. People just assume now that he's they're used to him being 5'9", but he's putting up 30 damn points a game.
Right.
Yeah,
it's funny because
that's ridiculous at 5'9".
It's funny because people can criticize him for his size, but they don't give him that. You know what I mean?
The added edge, yeah.
The added edge. It's oh no, well, he's great and all, but he's only 5'9". Well, that should be much more impressive.
Yeah.
The fact that he's only 5'9".
But I mean, you can't take it away from Russ. I mean, like any other year, I would, as a Celtics supporter, I would be pushing for Isaiah. But there's no debate. It's Russell Westbrook. That's it. That's it this year. Triple double. It's crazy. Yeah. By the way, I called that at the beginning of the year. I called it. I predicted that. You guys can say that. You just let him know. Let him know.
He's right. He did call it.
They called it.
He said he was going to average it, and we laughed at him. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's impressive.
You know what? I didn't even think they were a playoff team, honestly. Like, I know how good he is, but I didn't think they would make the playoffs. So you were lucky, in other words.
Got lucky.
All right, Anna. This is my last question here. Prediction time. Who wins this series and how many games between the Celtics and the Bulls?
I mean, C is all the way for sure, and I think probably season 6.
Yes. Yeah, that's my prediction.
That's mine too. Yeah,
I got a sweep.
That's it too.
You got a sweep?
Bring the brooms out, baby.
Get the. Nah, I don't
Bring them out.
I don't think it'll be a sweep. It'll be a good series though.
All right, we'll see.
Who knows? Who knows?
You know what else? You know what else is my prediction? I think Ray John is gonna do something shady to IT. He's gonna rough him up a bit.
Just jealousy coming out.
I think IT can handle it.
Yeah, no, he can. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be like a back and forth, talking smack back and forth.
Yeah, but let's think though.
Wait.
If Rondo wants to get under IT's skin, and they both get suspended for a game, who's hurt more? Right?
See, why you guys bring up suspension?
Just saying.
I'm just talking about fighting. I'm just talking about talking smack.
You got to keep an eye out for it. I know Isaiah can hold his own in a fight against Rondo, but that's something we got to look out for.
Anna, who's
I think he's smarter than that.
Yeah,
that's true. But Anna, what's one of your I don't know, predictions like that? Like my whole thing is the Rondo thing. What's yours? What's something that that we're gonna see? That people aren't predicting right now.
That people aren't predicting?
Yeah, like something that's like
something crazy.
Something crazy.
So
this is what we do. We make random predictions.
Just say an outrageous statement and Soy will be happy. That's really what he's asking right now.
I don't know. That's kind of hard on the spot. Yeah, I don't think anything crazy, but
she's like, Al's gonna fight somebody. That's what it is. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Who knows, man? I mean, he almost got into it with Dwight a few weeks ago.
Oh, that pissed me off.
Yeah, I hate Dwight Howard.
Yeah, Dwight's a little bitch for that.
Yeah, he really is.
Thank you.
And then he walked away real quick. Al was about to give him the hands. Al's gonna give him the hands.
I think Al's one of those guys that.
Now.
Yeah, I think Al's one of those guys where he doesn't I don't know, but he doesn't normally get mad. But if you get him mad,
when he's mad,
you don't want to see him mad. That's
is that accurate?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
All right, Anna, we appreciate you stopping by. We have to do this again soon.
Yes,
all right, we'll see how deep the Celtics go, and then we'll reconnect. This was fun.
Okay, sounds great. Thanks, guys.
All right, bye, Anna. All right, hey, that was fun.
Yeah,
we got to get her back on here, man. She was fun. I like talking to her.
Make sure you follow Anna on Twitter.
That's right.
There's the plugs.
There you go. I mean, if you're going to follow her, trust me, it is a great follow.
What is her Twitter
handle? You are
handle?
going to be entertained, especially if you're a Celtics fan, which is a good chance because you're listening to this podcast, so you must be a Celtics fan.
She is at ANNA Horford.
Anna Horford.
Pretty simple.
Yeah, it's pretty easy.
Like sometimes Anna's, one N or two
I know,
N's.
that's true. Make sure you get a second N in there.
I know, it was funny when you spelled
that second N.
ANNA Horford.
People going to be like, that's not Anna, that's someone else. So.
Anna.
Also, if you haven't already,
Anna?
you better be following the Causeway Street podcast blog on Twitter at Causeway Street. So follow us there. Also follow us on Snapchat because we're going to be in the house, of course, for Game 1 on Sunday.
We in the
Easter
house.
Sunday, we're going to be in the house like Kanye, just going crazy.
Yeah.
I just said that because you said the Kanye voice. There it is. We'll be there giving you exclusive content, of course, like we always do. And also, make sure you follow us on Facebook because we got a lot of exclusive content from post-game interviews, whether it's Brad Stevens, whether it's the players.
The Facebook Live,
exactly.
right?
Whether it's the players in the locker room, we have you covered. So make sure you follow us on Facebook. On Twitter, we'll give you live content as well on our Periscope.
You know what?
So we got you covered for the playoffs.
Anna coming on was like the perfect thing to settle the tension between me and Joel because I got heated for a second there, man.
I mean, you put Anna in there, she kind of smoothed things out because she's so positive when it comes to Celtics.
She's got a great voice.
I mean, if you didn't know Anna, you would think that she was like born and raised here because she's so positive about this Celtics team. So
and I was happy. I was happy about her hate on Mike Felger. That was just great.
Yeah, you were loving that. And I'm surprised because you were a
I'm
98.5
a
guy.
Felger guy, man. I listen to Felger, but
You're a 98.5 guy. I'm surprised.
I do, but like everybody, like he's like a drug. He's just like he's like
like heroin?
Yeah, he's like, man, I really just,
like it's bad for you. But
I
you
hate
keep,
heroin, but I'm just like,
we should call him up and argue with him. Would love to hear that.
He would just hang up on me. Yeah, I would be like, you know what? That's at the beep, and I'd be done. He'd be like,
that guy sucks. Hang up.
But you know what, Mike Felger?
That's my Felger impression.
You know, someday you're gonna be sitting there, getting old, losing your touch.
You gonna take his job? Is that where you're going with this?
I actually had no.
I don't think you even knew where you were going with that.
I had no end games.
And with that, we will wrap up this episode of the Causeway Street Podcast. We up out of here. You know what? Give us your best predictions. Respond to this tweet, of course, because we always put out these links. Sunday, Easter Sunday. Happy Easter, everyone. And we'll check you guys out next episode. We'll see how the Celtics are doing midway through this Chicago Bulls Celtics series. This is going to be a close one.
Yeah, let's go C's, baby.
This is going to be an entertaining series.
Gotta
I can't
take
wait
game
for
one.
this one.
Gotta take game one.
I mean, yeah, I guess as they say, every game is a must-win. But you know what? I think from the jump, this is going to be an entertaining series. So I cannot wait for Sunday.
Game one at home, you got to take game one.
All right, we'll see what happens.
Head to causewaystreetblog.com for our predictions and keys to the Celtics winning this series and a wrap-up pretty much of the 2016-17 regular season for the C's, all on causewaystreetblog.com. The conversation never ends on Twitter.
Never. And you know what? Give us a follow, too. You know what? We don't plug our Twitters enough, Sean. At Joe_Sway. Sean, where you at?
At Sean Dutra.
Simple enough.
That's it, man. I got that. You know.
Hey, Sean, you're gonna actually put some work into this piece, right? These prediction piece.
Yeah.
All right.
Did I not do it yet?
No, it's just funny because I just I haven't seen you write in a while, so it's gonna be interesting.
I haven't written all year, but with the number one seed, so I'm not gonna stop right now, motherfucker.
I wouldn't say all year, but okay, you said it, not me.
I think I wrote a little bit.
A little bit in the beginning. You were all jacked up.
Yeah, you know.
All right, we up out of here, guys. Check us out.
All right, later.
Later.